I like all of them. I like Coda a lot, but I've had shit results there, so I'd like to put a good race together there. I haven't been able to do that, even in Xfinity.
What if the driver everyone said couldn't handle ovals is now the one keeping championship contenders up at night? For races into the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season, Shane Van Gisbergen sits 5th in the standings. Not 5th among road course specialists. 5th overall, ahead of veterans, ahead of former champions, ahead of drivers who have spent their entire careers mastering the craft of oval racing. And the craziest part? He got there by surviving disasters that would have ended most drivers' days entirely. There are two stories here that, when you put them together, tell a much bigger picture about what is really happening inside the Cup Series right now. One involves a comeback at Phoenix Raceway, so improbable that a veteran NASCAR journalist admitted live on a podcast that he still cannot explain how it happened. The other involves a career-best oval finish at Atlanta, achieved despite spinning twice during the race. Both stories point to the same conclusion. The rest of a NASCAR Cup field may have a serious problem on their hands. Before getting into the race details, it is important to understand exactly why these results are so surprising. Shane Van Gisbergen is a 3-time Supercars champion from New Zealand who accumulated 80 wins in Australia driving the number 97. He joined Trackhouse Racing as a full-time Cup Series driver in 2025 and immediately rewrote the record books, setting a NASCAR rookie record with 5 wins in a single season, finishing 12th in the standings, and taking home Rookie of the Year honors. His 6 career Cup victories make him the winningest non-US-born driver in NASCAR history. But here is the asterisk that followed every conversation about SVG. Every single one of those wins came on a road course. Road courses make up roughly 5 to 6 races on the annual Cup schedule. The remaining 30-plus races are ovals, a completely different discipline requiring different car setup, different tire management, and a completely different style of racing inside packed traffic at high speed. In 2025, SVG's oval results were largely forgettable. His best oval finish that entire season was a 10th place at Kansas Speedway, and it came late in the year. Fast forward to 2026. For races in, something has changed dramatically. Phoenix Raceway, the Straight Talk Wireless 500. SVG starts 18th and works his way up to 14th after Stage 1. Steady, unremarkable progress. Then everything falls apart. On lap 94, both right-side tires blow simultaneously without any warning. SVG radios to his team, "I had 0 warning. I hit the brake, and it just blew." He falls a full lap behind the leaders. For most drivers in that situation, the race is essentially finished. SVG spends the bulk of Stage 2 just fighting to get that lap back. A grinding, thankless task that requires passing car after car with no real reward on the scoreboard. By lap 168, he finally reclaims the lead lap and finishes Stage 2 in 20th place. It gets worse. On lap 246, Austin Dillon drives directly into the back of SVG at turn 3 and sends him spinning again. SVG radios, "He just drove into me, I think." Back to the back of the pack for the second time. All that work erased again. 8 laps later, on lap 254, a massive multi-car pileup erupts involving Joey Logano, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, and Daniel Suarez. SVG threads the needle and narrowly avoids the carnage, but in doing so, locks up a tire and is forced back to the pits for a replacement. Now he's also dealing with a deteriorating brake pedal. He radios, "My brake pedal is about to fall off. The whole thing is going left and right real bad. I have to hold it to the side." With 26 laps to go, a caution flies for Dillon, now suffering a puncture of his own. Pit stops cycle through, and crew chief Steven Doran makes a bold, calculated decision. Take only 2 tires. SVG rockets from outside the top 20 all the way to 9th place on older rubber against drivers on fresh tires. He holds on through the final restart and crosses the line in 11th place. Speaking on the Teardown podcast, veteran journalist Jeff Gluck described watching the race from the press box. We talked about the guys that are out of the chase. Let's talk about some of the pleasant surprises who are in it right now. I think the top of that list has to be Shane Van Gisbergen. After 4 races, SVG is still 5th in points. I mean, gosh, that's amazing. Gluck had actually written SVG off entirely after watching the spins. Today, twice he wrecks right in front of me, spins out, I see a bunch of smoke. I'm like, who's that? I'm looking down from the press box. Oh geez, SVG. Shoot. Well, that's not good for him. His admission about the recovery was equally blunt. He comes back to finish 11th somehow. I have no idea how that happened. I literally have no idea how that happened. Co-host Jordan Bianchi added a layer that carries even more weight. You talk to other drivers, and they're in awe of his ability because they know how good he is. Yes, it's road courses versus all ovals, but if he puts in the time and the work, and they see this, it's transferable to some degree. He's doing it, man. He is getting better and better. When the drivers racing against SVG every single week are impressed by what they are seeing, that is not hype. That is a professional assessment from people who understand exactly what it takes. The Phoenix result was not the starting point of this story. It was actually Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta 2 races earlier that first signaled something was genuinely different in 2026. SVG starts 28th. Rain cancels qualifying, and the grid is set by a points formula. He is also adapting to Chevy's redesigned Camaro ZL1, a different car from what he spent all of 2025 learning. He immediately reports the car is extremely loose out of the gate and slides backward through the field. By the end of Stage 2, he has fought his way into top 5 contention and is battling Kyle Larson for 3rd place when Larson cuts all the way across the track and directly into SVG's nose, spinning both drivers. Larson goes into the wall, and his race is done. Larson stated clearly, "I hung a quick left and ran right into him. Nothing anybody else did wrong besides me. All on me." SVG pits for repairs and fresh tires, back to the back for the first time. With 60 laps remaining, SVG spins again, this time on his own, from 12th place due to persistent car looseness. Back to the back for the second time. A 2-lap overtime shootout follows in the closing stages. Chaos breaks out ahead of him, and SVG navigates through it to cross the line in 6th place. A new career-best oval finish in the NASCAR Cup Series, vaulting him from 28th in the standings all the way up to 16th. SVG reflected, "I think it was good. We're really still learning the new car. I think it's a bit different from the second stage. I could race, and it felt like I had a good day." His previous best oval result was a 10th at Kansas in late 2025. The jump from 10th to 6th while spinning twice in the same race. That is not luck. That is racekraft. After 4 races in 2026, SVG sits 5th in the Cup Series standings with an average finish of 12.3, 11 spots better than this same point last year, and 14 spots better in points year over year. Tyler Reddick leads the standings with a 60-point advantage, but SVG is firmly positioned inside the chase qualification picture. The structure of NASCAR's chase playoff format rewards exactly what SVG is now doing. Consistency across 36 races matters more than occasional brilliance. SVG scored a runner-up finish at COTA in 2026. His starting spot of 13th was his worst in 12 career road course appearances. Yet by lap 7, he was already in 6th place. He chased race winner Reddick for over 10 laps before Reddick pulled clear. SVG said afterward, "I knew I had gotten beaten by somebody better. He was driving really well, consistent line, accurate through the bundles. It was impressive to watch. Road courses, near guaranteed big points. Ovals, a rising floor that now produces 6th and 11th place finishes on genuinely disastrous days. The combination, if it continues at this trajectory through a 36-race season, creates a mathematical threat that is very difficult for the rest of the field to neutralize." Jeff Gluck stated plainly, "It can change quickly. You've got Las Vegas and Darlington coming up. We're going to have to see more." He is right. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a 1.5-mile intermediate track, demands long-run tire management and precise traffic navigation across hundreds of laps. Darlington Raceway is a technical, unforgiving circuit that has ended the runs of many promising drivers. These are fundamentally different challenges from Atlanta's high-banked, drafting-style environment. SVG himself has acknowledged there is still significant ground to cover. He has openly admitted he is still learning the nuances of oval drafting and the intricate details of pack racing. But his 2026 approach is deliberate and methodical, treating every race as a data collection exercise, building a notebook of what works and what does not, and arriving at each subsequent oval with more information than the last. The trajectory of that learning curve, from 10th at Kansas in 2025 to 6th at Atlanta and 11th at Phoenix in 2026, shows a driver who is not plateauing. He is accelerating. When SVG arrived in NASCAR in 2025, the sport had a clear, simple label for him: road course specialist. For races into 2026, that label no longer fits. The drivers inside the garage already know it. The standings already reflect it. The only question remaining is exactly how far this goes, and how much trouble the rest of the Cup Series field is genuinely in.